Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
So today, what we'll do is, I don't know if the other guys are joining. That's will continue. Today, what we'll do is we will do the blanket purchase orders. Let's do one thing. We will finish the item returns first, and then I will show you the blanket purchase orders. Let us go to the purchase order that we have created yesterday. So if I click on the document number, we get it sorts by the number. So if I click on document number again, we will get the latest purchase order, which is this AA Consulting. This is the one that, no. This is not the bread supplier, is the one that we have done now. What was? Where is our purchase order? So many transactions happened after we did that. I think bread supplier. 3 to 7 amount is 2T14. I think bread supplier. Is that the one? I think the amount was a little high. We have received like 10 quantity. Staple striplet. The quantity that we received was 10, I believe. Where is that? Where is that? Let's do one thing. The user also will be the same Roger user. These are 42224 dates. So hence, let us see. Let's filter it by dates, sorted by dates. Yesterday was April 3rd. Oh, I don't see anything. But I think that someone delete our transactions. I remember, sir. It was as the TV was some monitor. You're purchasing for quantity 10. Exactly. So did someone delete our transaction? This is what happens in test instances. Anyone can delete anything. So we can delete, sir. Actually, I was about to ask you another question. With the purchase order between you can delete as an administrator. Administrator will have full access. They select and delete it. So first you have to select the upper transaction, which is the vendor bill, and then item visit, and then purchase order. It is filtered by status, and that's the reason it is showing open. Hold on. There you go. This is the one. They have filtered it by status, and that's the reason we were not able to see. So I have opened the purchase order. When I do that, there will be something called as authorized return. Or you can also do it from here. You go to transactions. Authorized return option is that you go to transactions, purchases, and return authorizations. Enter vendor return authorizations. From here also, you can select the purchase order and do the same thing. Now let us click on return authorize. What I'm doing is I have purchased 10 quantity, but out of that 10 quantity, 2 I don't require for some reason. It could be quality, it could be quantity, it could be anything that we do not want to have the quantity. So let's go down. Let's go into this view. Scroll down. Let's remove this part. We don't need to return the expenses. We just want to return some of the items, but not the expenses. So I have removed the expenses part, and what I'm saying now is I am returning to quantity, and you can save it. So once the vendor return is saved, you will see that the amount and everything is the not $3,227. So in that sense, that amount will be there, which will be a vendor credit. So this is pending return now. So this vendor return also will have the GL impact, which will be exactly opposite of what the purchase order impact is, because we are trying to return it. Now in a purchase order, the first transaction was that inventory on stock was debiting and the purchase orders were crediting. It will be exactly the opposite of that. Whatever we had done in purchase order, the vendor return authorizes. There is a GL account called vendor return authorization. That will be a debit, and then the inventory on stock is a credit, which means we are sending the material out of our warehouse. We had 10 in the warehouse and 2 we are sending it. Doing the vendor return authorization today. I don't know if you joined on time, but if you go to transactions and purchase orders list. So what I did was on the purchase orders that we have created. This is the one that we created. There will be an option which is called as an authorized return. So once you click on that, it will take you to this vendor return authorization page. So on this vendor return authorization, I have removed the expense part. I don't want to return the expense. Expense is an expense anyways, so we don't have to return. Now on the items, what I've done is out of 10 quantity, we are returning 2 because of the quality issue or whatever it is. I have saved it. So here in this transaction, what happens is once you click on return the 2 quantity, which is there in our warehouse due to quantity issues, quality issue, we have to return that to the vendor, which means this will go to the item fulfillment page. Earlier we were doing the item receipt. When a purchase order is created, we do an item receipt, and when the item receipt is done, we get the quantity into the warehouse, the vendor bill is done, and the payment is done. However, for 2 quantity, we are returning an we are authorizing a return saying that the quality is not good and we have to ship the material back to the vendor. The 2 quantity which is there, we are trying to ship it back to the vendor, correct? Yes, and then if you click on. So this is an item fulfillment, which means we are trying to ship out the material. Whatever we have taken the LED monitor, 24 Ultra inch sharp LED monitor, which we are sending the quantity back to the vendor. So item fulfillment is done. The transaction has been saved successfully. Now let us go back to the purchase order, and if you refresh, it is fully built. One second. So let's go back to the item that we have. So when you go back to the item, go to the Purchasing Inventory tab, scroll down and here the quantity. Let's start 1 second. Location. This is the one. Say one location we had 15 quantity and now it's gonna be only 13 because we have returned 2 out of it. Any questions on this? So this is the item receipt that we have done. Let's go back to our vendor return authorization again. This is the transaction that we have done. So once you go to the vendor return authorization, there will be something called as refund. It is a pending credit now. When it says refund, don't think that we will get a refund. No, you have to refund the vendor will send you the refund. Because you made a payment for 10 quantity. You made a for 500 of payment, out of which $600 he has to give us back because we have sent out the material. Understood that? 61543 is what he has to give it back to us. So you will create a refund within the system. So you will create a refund within bill credit. This is a bill credit. So if you click on save, what happens is this gets saved as a credit within the system. It will be a credit against this particular vendor. So when you are making a payment next time, whenever you're trying to make a payment next time, this credit that is there, $605, will show up as a credit over there. So let us say you have to make a payment of 1,000 the next time. So you can exclude 395. I'm sorry, you can exclude DUG 605 and make a payment for 395 because this will be available as a vendor credit on this customer. Any questions on that? Yes. Tell me. If you mix payment, if I mean to say if you mix payment by cash or if you directly deposits in the bank. So how does it work then? Everything has to be recorded in the system. If you do not record in the system, it will not be available. So if it makes direct payment to the bank, so we have to record here, sir. Absolute, you have to. That has to be done. Yes. I went into the Pay Single Vendor option. Here you can select your vendor, which is AAA Consulting. I think our vendor is, oh no, it's bread supplier. This is how you search. You do a percentile symbol. Then it will give you all the options that you have there. So now if you scroll down, you see this now. For this bread supplier, there is a vendor credit for 60543, which is already there. So next time when you put in a purchase order, Let us say you created a purchase order for 1000 and you have to make a payment for $1,000. So this vendor credit that you see over here will be applied automatically, or you can take that amount off and make a payment for the rest also. You can click on this, apply the payment, or just remove it. This is minus 605. So that is about your return authorization. So now what we will do is I will show you how the blanket purchase order works. We are done with the purchase order process. Let us go into enter blanket purchase order. So this LED monitor that I have, what I'm saying is every month I need to buy from this bread supplier for some quantity. Let us say 10 quantity per month I have to buy. So you can specify what the end date is. Let us say June 30th or whatever. And when you scroll down blanket purchase order, I don't know why are we getting this view always. End date will be January 30th. I'm saying you can select the class, department and location and everything as well. So items under the items, I would say this is my item. Let's say 30 quantity. Tax code. Let's save it. If you scroll down, there is something called as a schedule. Next to it, usually this will not be available on a purchase order. So if you click open that schedule, you can edit the schedule. So there are a couple of options. If you want to create your purchase orders manually, you can do that or at lead time. So you can specify that first of every month I need a purchase order for 10 quantity that has to be generated. Or you can auto generate this as well. So if you see, we have generated the frequency as weekly. And that is the reason every week you will get a purchase order for 2 quantity. Now let us say I have taken a monthly thing. Monthly, and then I clicked on auto generate. So when this happens, it will generate 4th of 3rd of every month, April 3rd, May 3rd, June 3rd. So 3rd of every month, I will have a 10 quantity purchase order which gets generated automatically. So I will say release this. We would have to save first. Click on. I'm just releasing one purchase order for now. So click on. And save it. So once you save this transaction, it will take you to that generate purchase order screen and it will generate that particular purchase order that we have done. So this is an automated process which happens. And this is a manual processor that we are doing by generating the order and then by clicking on release automatically. But if you select generate on time, lead time. So you can specify a date and automatically system will generate that purchase order. If you see my purchase order got generated, PO 130 got generated, but this will just have a 10 quantity. It will not have 30 quantity. Out of the 30 quantity, the 20 quantity will be generated next month for 10. Likewise, one more transaction which will happen in June. That also, so this purchase order is again the same process. You will receive it, you will bill it, you will take the inventory into the warehouse. Everything would still be the same on a purchase order that we have done. But it's only that the blanket purchase order, if you see the purchase amount is 3,2760 now, but for only 10 quantity. So you can go into the purchase order and go into related records. It will show you that it got created from a blanket purchase order somewhere. It will show. It has to show under the related records 1 second. There will be a link somewhere showing that it got generated from a blanket purchase order. This particular purchase order that we have done. Here it will show clearly. If you go into the schedule, it will show clearly that one purchase order is generated for PO 130. The others are pending. And it's not that you have to wait until then. You can click on schedule and then release this directly also. Even that can be done. Go into edit. So for the second purchase order also, if there is an urgent requirement, then you can actually click on this release directly. You don't have to wait for that particular day. And then say and release it. Once the purchase order gets released, another purchase order gets created for us, which is 131. Any questions on this? Let me process this purchase order also. So I'm receiving this purchase order. It's asking for location again. I think on the purchase order itself, we have not provided the location, maybe. But it should not allow us to move forward. I will say the location is not saved. So, since it got created from a blanket purchase order, The location, even if it was not mandatory, the location was mandatory, but still it got saved because it's getting created from a blanket purchase order. If we were doing it manually, then it would have said, now do you see, the location is defaulted. So I'm unexpected error. What is this? What happened now? Let's go back. Location is saved. Do we have the location at the line level as well? It should be there. Tax. There you go. So it got created from blanket purchase order. This is what I was looking for earlier. That is fine. But why are we getting the error? Let's see. I think the line level purchase order is hidden. Let us see. Usually there will be one location here and there will be another location at the line level also. Looks like that location is hidden and on the form. I have shown you how to hide the fields. So probably that location is hidden now and that's the reason we are not able to see. Let us see. Green fields. Sublist fields. This is hidden. All, let's go back to our purchase order. Take the location. It's strange that I still don't see the here it is. I'm saving this purchase order now after saving the locations at the header level and at the line level as well. Let us see if we are able to process this purchase order. See it. Now I have the quantity. I have the location and everything. So hopefully this, oh strange. Notice the unexpected. So you might get errors like this when you are trying to do something, when you do the transactions and all, and you have to try and resolve those errors. There is a script level error, I think, which is getting that. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.